Hello and welcome to Zerbinator's Horror Nights. This is the show that brings the air into scare, and the right into the fright, and the error into the terror. I am your host, Zerb, and with me is my very good friend and my co-host, Mike G. What is up, G?
What's going on, Zerb? How are you, bub?
Not too bad, Dunny. Not too bad. Tonight's movie we are going to discuss is going to be James Wan's classic, soon to be a legend, already one of my favorite movies ever, The Conjuring, which was released on July 19th, 2013.
Warning.
We will spoil the heck out of this movie, so if you wish, watch the movie first, then come on back! And if you don't care, just stay right there.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It would be a little unkind to present this without just a word of friendly warning.
Children of the night, what music they make.
It deals with the two great mysteries of creation.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Life and death.
Your mother sit here with his cat.
I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain,
Would you like to leave a message?
now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Zerbinator's Horror Nights with your hosts, Zerbinator and Mike G.
So really quick, Mike, I want to cover something that you are engaged with home life. And that is that your son is a soon-to-be NFL superstar.
Ha! One could only hope. I'll be happy
Tell me a little
if he
bit
can play and get a scholarship for college. That would be one step at a time.
Well, tell me how the team is doing with him on it.
Well, currently he has a knee injury, so he's out for a couple of weeks. I'm going to say this not as his father, but because I'm also the coach, one of the coaches for the team.
Nice.
He's the heart and soul of the team. I mean, bottom line, he can play every position that there is on that football field. I mean, he's been on a football field since he's been 2 years old.
And that's not being biased because you're the papa?
No. He's already in 5 games that he's played almost 1,000 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns. He's caught 2 touchdowns, and he's thrown 2 touchdowns.
See, I knew that, and I just wanted to milk you to get that out of you.
Yeah. Milk. My name is Betsy. Moo.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures on Facebook, and every single time that I've seen a picture of him, he's running with the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like every single game, he's got the ball in his hand.
Now, as a father, it's a good feeling that when he's on the field and we're on offense, and the other team from the defense is yelling, "Watch 29, watch for 29."
Yeah.
So that's a good feeling. That's a proud papa because they know he's about to do some damage. Like his last game, he ran 165 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. So,
how did he get the knee injury?
In practice in a tackle drill. Last play of the night, and his knee just kind of got tweaked a little bit. So we're just luckily nothing's torn.
Good.
No brace, no crutches, no nothing. Just a lot of ice, heat, and some Advil and plug on that one. I should have just
Right. Advil for your son's knee injuries.
And once his pain level comes down to where he can get back out there and feel comfortable, then the doctor said he's free to go. So. But which is okay. We still have 4 more weeks of regular season. We already made the playoffs. So
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it's good.
So he should use this as a vacation just to get ready to kill him.
Yeah, it's kind of good. I mean, you don't want to hear about injuries or see an injury, but he was getting pretty beat up and banged up. So this kind of gives his body a little time to recuperate.
Good.
So, but he'll be back good as new.
Well, good. I can't wait for him to get back in the game so I can see how the end comes about for the team. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, like I said, the team's not the same without him, and
beautiful.
He'll be fine, which is good. But safety and health before anything. So
yeah, that's more important.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of my 32-year-old Mike. Katrina just got a nose piercing.
Nice.
Yeah, so just like you, I'm really proud. She got an injury, but she'll be fine in about 3 weeks. And I couldn't be prouder.
Yeah.
But let's go on to sadder news than that. Since our last recording, Wes Craven had passed away, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out, have a toast, and pour something in the ground for the homies. Wesley Earl Wes Craven, the American film director. Most of you might know him from his work in movies like the 1977 The Hills Have Eyes, 1982 The Swamp Thing. I missed The Swamp Thing. That was great. A Nightmare on Elm Street. All of the series, all of the movies that he was a big part of, except for the remake. Michael Bay always has to put his hand in something and make it disgusting. Poor guy. Including Friday the 13th and Transformers. Thank you, Michael. The 1988 movie The Serpent and the Rainbow. 1989 Shocker. The bald guy looked like me who went around and
Jinky.
Oh, I love that movie. We got to cover that too one day.
Yeah.
The Scream
that guy
series.
was homeless?
Really?
Yes, he was a homeless drug addict. And
then they made him an actor.
He was always been a character actor. And Wes Craven happened to be walking the street and saw him and said, "Dude, you'd be perfect for this role."
Oh my God, that is awesome.
And the guy, next thing you know, it like revitalized his career. And he was homeless, living in a car at the time. And Wes Craven all but saved his life.
God, see how good of a guy he was.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's cool.
2010, he did My Soul to Take, and then the last thing he was working on was the Scream TV series. He did the Freddy's Nightmares TV series, Nightmare Cafe TV series, and the People Next Door TV series. He was born August 2nd, 1939. I didn't realize that he was that old, but he was, and he died August 30th, 2015. So rest in peace there, horror man. Thank you so much for making the nights even more fun with hamburgers, hot dogs, and a girlfriend that goes, eee! So, Mike, let me ask you, what was your first reaction to seeing this movie, The Conjuring?
I liked the movie. Very well directed. Had all the perfect actors and actresses. I think that fit the characters perfectly. It would be something that if you read a book, these would be the people that you would envision to actually play them.
Very true.
Yeah. The movie had some moments that would make some jump, very creative in the story writing and following the supposed happenings that made the basis of this movie. So what was your first reaction to seeing it?
My first reaction was, first of all, I was excited that it's a movie that wasn't like all the other horror films that I had seen. And what I heard through the grapevine before I first saw it, that this was not like all the other horror movies where there was a lot of blood and gore. It was said that this is one that just messes with your mind. And
Right.
I was so excited. Then I was excited because of the fact that they said that this was based on very true facts, so I was excited about that. I was excited because I found out that James Wan did it, which he was a young guy and he had much respect for all of the old classic horror films, and I knew that he would try to emulate that. Unfortunately, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on Blu-ray here at the house, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, I never saw it in the theater either.
No?
No, I don't go to the movie theaters anymore.
I try not to. It's just too much trying to worry about everybody else's noise, and then you got the kids making.
Well, it's the whole cost thing for me. I mean, you pay $12 a ticket. I wait 2 months and I pay $12 for the DVD. You know what I mean?
Or the red box, which is like $2.13.
Right. And I can pop my own popcorn, get up, and go to the bathroom, and hit pause and not miss anything.
That's true. Very true. That's the way I felt. It was just an amazing, refreshing horror film compared to the ones that I've seen before. And it was very unpredictable. That was one of the big sellers for me, is watching it, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. So, Mike, let me ask you, when you moved into a new home or a new apartment, because I know you've been in apartments, have you ever felt like any of them had been haunted?
Not when I've moved into one. My last house before we moved here to Florida, I won't try not to drag this out too long. We were taking care of my aunt, and she passed away. A couple of days afterwards, it was really weird that I just happened to be walking through the kitchen, and I got a very strong whiff of her perfume, which she only sprayed when she went out out of the house, like to go to the grocery store, or if she was going to the doctor, she always wanted to smell pretty. And it was just kind of really strange. Nobody else smelled it, but I smelled it. And
did you dealt it?
Who dealt it? Ha 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 ha.
I figure since you smelt it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then one night, a couple nights after that, the whole family experienced this, and it was kind of funny. Back in her heyday, she liked to drink the liquor Old Granddad. It's a whiskey. We were all sitting in the living room watching TV, and in her former bedroom, this was before we remodeled the house, we hear this big crash bang boom, and we're like, what the heck, from her room, right? And we're all looking at each other going, and for some weird reason, out of the top of her closet, a bottle of Old Granddad rolled off the shelf and hit the floor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, haunting, I don't know, but,
I wouldn't consider it a haunting, maybe just a visitation from family members.
Yeah, it was just the timing of it, and those were really like the only
Old Granddad come rolling out.
Those were like the only two incidents that happened after she had passed away in the house.
See, I don't have any. I've never felt like anything has been haunted, but I'm going to match your story with my dad. When my dad passed away, same thing. I was driving to work one day and I smelled Brute. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, and my dad was a Brute freak. He loved Brute, and it was next to me in the car on the way to work, and I just overwhelmed. I start crying instantly, and I went, "Dad, not now." I remember that. I covered my forehead, and I said, "Dad, not now." Well, hands off the wheel too. Right. So I was like, "Ah!" I said, "I'm on my way to work, and I just can't take this right now. I'm sorry. I got to sit in front of all the 150 employees and do meetings before they go out to the toll booths and all that. And I don't want to mess with this." I couldn't take it, so I told him no, and then that went away. Then, within a couple of days, I was bitching about the car that he left me from his mom, the Ford Taurus, a blue one. And I said, "Why'd you give me this piece of S? Why am I stuck with this piece of S?" And the warning light came on, and the car went downhill after that.
Interesting.
So he's like, "Fine, you don't want it, you don't have to take it."
And now, tonight's feature.
I'm going to go ahead and go down the list of director and actors and actresses for this movie, which is rockin'. The Conjuring. Came out in 2013, again, July 19th. The director was James Wan, who was born 26th of February, 1977. I was 7 years old when this man was on the planet. How old were you in 1977?
6 years old.
Goodness. And he's 38 years old, and he had already gotten under his belt Saw. Mm-hmm. He had Saw under his belt, a couple more Saws under his belt, and producing them. The first one was great. The rest of them, I got a little bit chunky monkeys, like I'm going to the meat store and trying to purchase tripe. It just got really gross. Mostly famous for the Saw movie in 2004, just a little kid. He did the Insidious films. He's done Annabelle. He's done The Fast and the Furious #7 in 2015. That's the last project he had. He's currently working on The Conjuring 2 to take place in Enfield, not Connecticut. I thought it was going to be Connecticut,
England.
But it's not.
Yep, it's going to be England.
Yep. And you were the one to tell me that. Yeah. And I'm crushed because I really wanted it to be home so I could go to Enfield and go, "Hey, this is where the movie was." No, it wasn't. Via Farmiga played Lorraine Warren, known best for her Bates Motel TV series business. She was a police psychiatrist in Martin Scorsese's The Departed. That's where I first saw her and fell in love with her because I thought she was cute with a little bit of a Honey Boo Boo face. I don't know what that means. Forget that.
No comment on that.
Patrick Wilson plays Ed Warren. Any movie I've noticed that is of any substance in the horror genre, you're going to find Patrick Wilson doing something.
It seems like it. He seems to be like the male version of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, exactly. Something about it is perfect for those. He was in Insidious 1 and 2.
I bet you he's going to be part 3.
I wonder if he is. Also, seems to work with James Wan quite a bit, so I'm sure you'll see him again and again. Lily Taylor plays Carolyn Perron. She is a great actress. She's sexy and creepy at the same time. A great actress, and pulls off her character pristinely. And that's my way of just saying that this is the first time I've seen her, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but she's so alluring.
You never
She's
saw
got this
House
alluring
on Haunted Hill with Liam Neeson?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you so much. She was in that, and
Yes.
I couldn't stand her in that
She
movie.
played the psychic girl in that movie.
No wonder I couldn't stand her. I couldn't stand her in that movie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
She
I
played
couldn't.
it good. You were
She did.
supposed to not. She was the character you were supposed to hate.
Yeah, well, she did a good job.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of different horror movies. And,
She should keep it up.
movies in general. I believe she was in Rose Red also, the Stephen King movie. I think.
Ooh.
I think that was her. If not, there's another actress that looks similar to her.
Was Rose Red any good?
It's all right. It's not bad.
I don't know if I've seen
It's
it.
adapted from a book. His books are always better than the movies, in my opinion. But
I'll have to check it out.
yeah,
wonder
I
if
think it's on
YouTubian.
Netflix.
Oh, good.
I think you
I'll look
can
it up.
research it. A lot of his stuff's on there.
I love Stephen King. Did you know that he wrote part 2 to The Shining called Dr. Sleep?
I did not know,
did?
but I know they're getting ready to redo it, and I hope it's better than the first one.
You didn't like it, the first one? I mean, it's
The movie?
80s, but
They left so much out that was crucial
in the book.
from the book that it
See, I
kind
don't
of
read
left the
books.
movie bland, in my opinion.
You were a bookworm.
I love Stephen King. The matter of fact, your mom is the one that gave me the book. It.
What's that? What's that?
I said,
What'd you say?
I said, your mama. Your mama gave me
My
the
mom
book.
gave you it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
She gave me it, and I shared it with everybody.
Son of a... Did she really give you it?
Yeah, but no, seriously. She we talked about Stephen King one time, and she said, she gave me a bunch of them.
Oh, cool.
I guess she had read them and didn't want them anymore, all hardbacks. And she goes,
man.
here.
Let's not talk about this anymore.
And so she gave me 5 or 6 Stephen King books.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I read them all.
That's good.
Real nice and slow.
All right, that's enough. Good Lord. Oh, man.
Sorry. That was
Just so you guys know, Mike and I have known each other since, almost 30 years.
I think
I'm 45 now. And I knew you when I was 13, 14, so yeah.
You were, I think, still going to Swanson when we met. I was going to TJ.
Yeah, so it's okay if you get it from my mom.
Yeah.
Also, Ron Livingston played Roger Perron. He was in Swingers in 1996, Office Space in 1999, one of my favorites. Stop laughing, Mike. And narrated the commercial for the...
See my stapler? It was red.
Yeah,
See my
that's what you're
stapler?
laughing
My stapler? Excuse me.
Did you notice that Ben Carson, the guy running for president, sounds just like
He
him?
really does.
He's like, yes, I think that we can help everybody if we would just get together on certain things to enhance the... would you stop talking, Mr. Carson? And also, this gentleman narrated the commercial for Hewlett-Packard's wireless notebook in 2004, and I remember that, so I put that in the notes as well.
And now for a quick movie plot summary.
1970 paranormal investigators and demonologists Lorraine and Ed Warren are summoned to the home of Carolyn and Roger Perron. The Perrons and their 5 daughters have recently moved into a secluded farmhouse where a supernatural presence has made itself known. Though the manifestations are relatively benign at first, events soon escalate in horrifying fashion, especially after the Warrens discover the house's macabre history.
And that is a macabre history.
It's an interesting one, needless to say.
I love that word, macabre.
Yes.
I wish we had a band named Macabre.
It's like mantra. A lot of people say mantra.
Yeah.
Macabre.
I say macabre.
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 You say potato, I say potato.
Bra. The films that followed were Annabelle, which was released on the 3rd of October in 2014, with director John R. Leonetti. And it starred Ward Horton, and Annabelle Wallis. Annabelle Wallis is gorgeous! And The Conjuring 2, which we just spoke about earlier, the Enfield Poltergeist, to be released the 10th of June next year, 2016. Director James Wan, and also will star Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
So the movie The Conjuring has a Facebook page, and on that page you can buy T-shirts. There's pictures behind the scenes from the movie. and people's comments, what they thought, what they, if they liked it, they didn't like it, so forth, so forth. Also, there's a great website called History versus Hollywood, and in the search bar, type in The Conjuring, and there you'll read a whole backstory on the whole movie and the whole story of it, and you'll find an interesting piece at the very end of it from the current owner of the house, and it's about a 15-minute YouTube video. The video kind of debunks some of the alleged stories for the farmhouse. And I found it very, very interesting. But we'll discuss this later on, Kevin, in the podcast, too. I don't want to get into it too much here. This video will also be in the show notes for this episode.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you showed me this video a while ago, and I watched it, and I was like, and I know that feeling. And yeah, so I will. I'll put a link to it, and I'll also put. I'll just put a YouTube video at the bottom of the show notes where this page is. So
that works.
Come on over to the side, everybody.
Yep.
How about a little bit of movie trivia?
So, a little movie trivia for you all. Lorraine Warren and Andrea Perrin served as consultants to directors James Wan and the screenwriters. They both claim the movie is accurate to the real story of what happened to the Perrins during the 10 years they lived there on the farmhouse.
Claim? Oh, I'm sorry. I had something in my throat. When the movie was shown in the Philippines, they say that some cinemas had to hire Catholic priests to bless the viewers before showing it. Now, if that's not a marketing ploy, I don't know what is. But really quick, I must interject about The Exorcist. The Exorcist had people standing by with smelling salts because people were fainting in the theater in 1973. Just got to say that. But this is due to some viewers having reported a negative presence feeling after watching the film. So the priest would provide spiritual and psychological guidance to the viewers after that situation.
That's really interesting. Vera Farmiga, the actress who plays Lorraine Warren, opened her computer one day to keep reading the script, and she noticed 5 claw marks scratched straight across the screen. That's very interesting and creepy.
Now, that's another to me, me, I'm a skeptic, but that's just like, what happened? Did she bring her cat along?
Yeah, no joke.
Or did she forget to trim her nails that day and she went to remove some words on there that she couldn't find the whiteout for? Oh, she's blonde, so, that's stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga both traveled to Connecticut to meet Lorraine Warren prior to filming. Ed Warren had passed away by this point, I'm guessing. And I think that's a good idea because if you're going to play a role as somebody, you better know who you're playing. Right?
James Wan, the director, was working on the script one late night, and he had just adopted a new puppy who started staring at a supposedly empty side of the room and began to growl aggressively. Wan stated that the dog's head then followed something all across the room, but he didn't see anything.
Did anybody fart?
Who knows?
See, my cat will do that. My cat will stare at a spot. Again, I'm debunking. My cat will stare at a spot, like there's a spider right there, and she'll stare at it for hours. And she'll go, "Here's a ghost." I go, "No, honey, there's a spider right there." But maybe the dog had to go outside and just was like, "Oh, Lord," All right, Lorraine Warren. Hey, Mike, did you know that Lorraine Warren was the elderly woman that was in the front row of the classroom when Carolyn was listening to the Warrens' presentation?
That's interesting. That's pretty cool that they shot her in that film.
Yep, they did. Well, they didn't shoot her, but they just, the videotaped. Oh, I'm sorry. I always take things too literally. Yeah, she was in there, and I think that's pretty cool that they put her in there. She's getting up there in age. So how old do you think that Lorraine is right now?
88, 89 years old. Somewhere right in there.
She was born in 1927, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, that'd make her 88 then.
Yeah, that's true. You're good at math. And Ed passed away at 79, and not too long ago.
Yeah,
of course, I closed the window, so I can't.
I think it was within the last 5 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, now, Mike, we're going to gab. Pertaining to the film. Well, this movie, if I may, can I kick it off here for you?
Sure, please do.
This movie is a great throwback to the 70s horror films. Tons of room for imagination, tons of room left for imagination when you're watching the film. A lot of great things happen in the film. The use of everyday household appliances in ways that they're not supposed to be used. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. My favorite part would be the hide and seek parts with the clapping. We spoke of that earlier, but the fact that nobody's clapping and you hear clapping, I think that's wonderful. Or you see the dark hands come in, especially in the previews, you see it where she has the match and she's holding it at the top of the steps and she's scared and all you see is just the flame light and then all of a sudden a gray pair of hands come in and I love the piano scene when the piano plays what she was trying to play when she first saw the piano. And it just like recorded that thought and would play that over and over again. I love the scene where the girl wakes up in the middle of the night and smells something awful and then looks in the corner of the room and they do this slow zoom into darkness and you don't see anything, but she does. And you're like, what was it? And you're just zoomed in, and there's nobody being slashed, there's nobody being torn apart, there's no threat to any bodily parts. It's not a meat fest,
right.
And you're just scared. You genuinely get scared, and you don't want to take your eyes off it. That's what I love about this film.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I mean, those are great scenes in the movie for sure.
Yeah,
and the cinematography was fantastic for those scenes, and the idea and the writing, of course. I'd have to say probably my favorite part of the movie was in the basement when I guess you do they were doing the exorcism, I guess is what you want to call it. And she's strapped down to the chair, and the next thing you know, the transformation starts happening. The sheet comes over, and all of a sudden you see the witch's face coming through the sheet, and and the husband's yelling, "You're killing her! You're killing her!" And the piano comes flying at Ed Warren, or the bookshelf, whichever, I can't remember which one it was, piece of furniture, and
something big and boxy,
and just how intense that scene is. And I remember, I mean, it didn't scare me, but I just remember it just gave me this feeling in my. Like that roller coaster rush. You're climbing up the hill.
Exactly.
Click, 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 and then it starts getting quiet, and you know what's coming. Except when you think you know what's coming in that scene, it goes a completely different direction because she breaks free, and then she goes crawling through the house to go after the little girl.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't
I
bother
thought that was
attacking
just a
everybody
really
in front
great
of her.
part to the movie.
The scene where the kid's hair goes up slowly, like one strand at a time,
right.
And then it starts getting more and more, and then she gets drug across the floor. I didn't expect that to happen. When she comes out of the room and she's about to go down the steps, all of a sudden, all the pictures come off the wall.
Right.
I would have expected one.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to, not all of them.
And
that
at one time, it wasn't just like plop, 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 plop. It was just like crash, and they were all off the wall.
It was like, here you go, they're all off the wall. Yep. And that's one thing I'd give this movie, and I hope it continues it in part two. When they do a part two, it's because, of course, the money that they made from part one, they get hungry for it again, and they feel it's worth their time to try again to get it. So I hope when they do it again, they're very seldomly is part two as good as part one, so we'll see what happens.
Well, it's going to be a completely different, a whole different type of haunting, This movie was based off of a possession, basically.
Yeah.
The next one's based off of a poltergeist, which is
so it's two different types
tormentor.
of entities.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, even though it's tied with the name The Conjuring, I think it's going to be a different type of, a completely different type of movie. Because technically, if you follow did any research, if anybody does any research on the Warrens, you'll see that what The Conjuring 1 was made from was the Warrens really what made them popular. They were known, but this really got them out there. And technically, in 1977, the next case was the Amityville Horror House. After Amityville, they went to Edenfield, England, to do what's now going to be The Conjuring 2. But to add to that, of why they're not covering the Amityville house is because there's a new Amityville horror movie. It's the 13th installment. I didn't know there was 13 of them.
I know.
And let me tell you,
James
I
Wan
saw the
should do
trailer, and the frickin' thing looks awesome. It absolutely looks awesome. I can't wait for it to come out.
Well, I'm a big freak of the Amityvilles because that's like the first ghostly movie I saw when I was a kid.
Right.
And I had to wait for it to come on TV, of course, so I saw the ABC version in the afternoon where they cut most of the stuff out.
Right.
But I was a kid, so it was a good thing. Same way I saw The Exorcist, too, by the way.
You saw what?
Exorcist the same way. I was 13
right.
years old. I watched it on either CBS, ABC, or NBC, and I was homesick.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I was homesick in bed, and when we were sick in bed, you got the TV in your room, and what came on? The Exorcist. Because they thought everybody was in school. Not me.
Yeah, I bet you won't catch TV doing that now.
Now, I want to ask a question leading back to the website that we're going to provide with the debunking of the film.
This is what let me down. After
Please.
watching that video, and I came out of it a little. I was happy to hear that this movie, because all you heard about with Ed and Lorraine Warren is, all these experiences that they've had and good things that they've done for, when bad things are happening in people's houses or to people. But then, I read the backstory about, who the witch was and all these people that died on the farmhouse. Well, this previous owner, or the newest owner of this farmhouse, got so upset because people were coming on their property and taking pictures through the windows, taking things off the side of the house, knocking down their fences. And so she finally started doing some research. And let me tell you, in this video, she puts up some good evidence to state that everything that the parents put out there, the daughter, Andrea, in her 3 books, is false. The people that she claims that died on that property never really died, actually died in other towns. The witch that supposedly possessed her mother actually died of natural causes. But, for our listeners, watch the YouTube video, and then you be the judge of what you think.
Do you think that the Warrens did that basically because they are trying to make money off of what they do? And you got the museum tours, and you got all that stuff in there. And you know me, I'm a skeptic. I would go in there not hoping something would happen, and at the same time, I'd be like, I can't buy any of that stuff that goes on in there. I just can't. I unless, unfortunately, I don't want to see something happen, but I haven't. So,
I mean,
and people say maybe you're not open to that.
That can, or the parents, did they conspire? And then the Warrens went along with it. Did they somehow fool the Warrens? I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, different. Back then in the 70s, it's hard to tell, what motives might have been there or not been there. But now that the movies come out, that was for a money thing, obviously. I don't know so much for the Warren side, but maybe for the parents.
I mean, even back in the day, did the Warrens get with the parents, and then the parents made it a little bit more juicy for them? Did they add on to it, or vice versa? Were the parents and the Warrens together on it? Just like you were saying. I just don't know. You never know.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you never know. You just, especially pre-internet, there's no way to find out.
Yeah, but actually there is, though, because they made all these claims of all these people, and this lady that was the witch, all they had to do was go to their local town hall and research the documents, and everything was documented. And that's what the current owner of the property did. That she went and started tracing all the names that were thrown out of who died on this property, boom, boom, boom. And all of it was proven false. And it's got the dates they died, the towns where they died in. Some of them were up to 25, 30 miles away. How come the Warrens didn't do that research? And why would they sign off on that without doing that research? And just say, she was possessed.
That's why I called Bupkis on the Warrens. I think that they knew that, but they figured nobody would ever figure that out. At least not in the time that they were messing around with this story. So
and I'm surprised James Wan didn't. How are you going to? Well, I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that say this is actual events. The movie The Fourth Kind. I thought which was a great movie. It's an alien movie, but they claim it to be real footage of the real doctor and all that, and it was all BS. They got me. I had to look it up at the end of after it on the internet to see if all this was really true or not.
But it wouldn't sell if they didn't put that on there. And that was a fad that started coming out 10 years ago.
The Blair Witch. That's what started it.
Exactly. And if it didn't have based on actual events, and they have to say based on actual events, and that way they're cool with the lawyers or whoever else comes around and say, something stupid.
Right.
But based on actual events, gets you by the lies, I guess.
I guess.
And I don't know. And of course people will be more into it if they think it's real, but nobody's going to buy that nowadays. And if they do, they're young 13-year-olds who got themselves a ticket to an R-rated movie.
Yeah. So it kind of let me down a little bit because I think I expected a little bit more because of the reputation of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
And you're a fisherman, and you got fished in.
Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker, buddy.
No, that's all right. I understand it. Yeah, and I can understand that feeling too. It takes you back to when Mom said there was no Santa Claus.
I was never told that. I just kind of figured it out on my own.
It's time to go. Time for final comments.
Do you think that there should be another sequel is my next question, but that's not even worth talking about. Yeah. So we'll skip
they're
that,
making
Mike.
a sequel. It's just in a different setting.
I'm looking forward to it. And notice that he made it really far away, so it's harder for us to go over there and find out if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Next one will be on Mars.
Probably.
Something about water. Hey, Mike.
Yes.
What would be the next film you would like to discuss? Do you?
The next film I'd like to discuss is an American Ghost Story. So I think that'll be a fun, interesting one to discuss for our next podcast.
And I watched that after your request, and I'm looking forward to doing that particular episode. Hopefully soon.
Awesome.
American Ghost Story being a independent film channel film. Mm-hmm. Great movie, though, for independent film. I jumped probably as much as I jumped for The Conjuring. This guy did a really good job, and I can't wait to get into it because I don't know much about it, so I'm going to enjoy this.
Spoil it.
Oh, I can't. I don't remember. So again, folks, remember you can check out the movie/documentary about the History versus Hollywood and the new owners of the Perrin home, the farmhouse, and listen to her side of the story where she debunks everything about the movie just to get you off her lawn.
Pretty much.
And I say, if you make it to her yard and you get a piece of the house, send some to us so I can put it in a frame.
And now, tonight's horrifying music.
The closeout music for tonight will be by a band called Stompin' Riff Raffs from Tokyo, Japan. Out of respect for James Wan, even though I don't think he's Japanese, I think he's Malaysian.
He's Malaysian.
But I'm not sure. But anyways, from another land, that's not this one. And I think that's important by celebrating it, by playing you Horror Show by the Stompin' Riff Raffs. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Zerpinator's Horror Nights.
Well, thanks again for having me, and I really appreciate it and had a great time. To our listeners, hey, listen, let us know what you think about the show and pass it along to your friends. We'd love to get more listeners on board for Zerpinator's Horror Nights. And also you can find us on iTunes and on Stitcher.
That's right. Thanks, buddy, very much. And until next time, may all your dreams be nightmares.
My mind, you heard I sure will go back to try. Making it up when I get high. I'm so tired of this girl. Go to me, please, so to her. You know what I left. She's running away. My mind, you heard I sure will listen to her. When it's out, when I get to, I'm so tired of this girl. Go to me. So to know needles if I left out, she's running away. My mind, who I should we're gonna go try, breaking her when I get high. I'm so tired of this girl. She's running away. My mind, her eyes are shake a lover. Shake a lover. Shake a lover. Shake a lover. I left out. She's running away. My mind, her eyes are she's running away. My mind, her eyes are
All of Zerpinator's music and podcasts are under the Creative Commons license, which allows retelling and rebroadcasting as long as the author is notified and credited. For more great escape pods, please visit www.zerbinator.wordpress.com. If you would like to contact Zerbinatorland, you can send an email to instrumentally@gmail.com or give us a call at 571-408-ZERB or 9372.
There is no FARMING yet. No, it doesn't work for bingo. All right, let's do it again.
And Vera was her name-o.
Farmiga was her name. I wonder if she ever had to put up with that in school.
I don't know.